Hi, this is Christian, and welcome back to NFL Updates Express, your weekly dose of NFL news. Coming your way, Divisional Round Weekend predictions. Wildcard Weekend was a great one, but now we're on to the Divisional Round as the Indianapolis Colts take on the one-seeded Kansas City Chiefs in this matchup. Now, this game should be pretty awesome. We have two of the best quarterbacks in the league, Andrew Luck and Patrick Mahomes, against pretty solid defenses, at least for the Colts side. Now, the Chiefs, the thing that's been holding them back and could hold them back in this game or for their hopes of winning a Super Bowl could be their defense. Now, they do have great pieces on their defense, like Eric Berry, Chris Jones, Justin Houston, Dee Ford, etc., but they just can't really put it together, and they've been giving up 30, 40, 50 points on a consistent basis. And against Andrew Luck, T.Y. Hilton, Marlon Mack, and the Colts, that could spell doom for a team that has lost 6 straight home playoff games. Now, what are the keys for these teams to win? Well, for the Colts, they're just going to have to continue to play solid defense. We already know Andrew Luck can put up points, but this defense headlined by linebacker Darius Leonard, who led the NFL in tackles, he's going to have to really carry the load. They have some solid corners as well that have been getting the job done. And so if they can limit, and I notice I said limit, not stop, because it's pretty much impossible to stop this Kansas City Chiefs offense, mostly due in part because they've scored over 26 points in every game this year. And so ultimately, for the Chiefs to win this, well, their offense is going to have to keep it clicking. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Damian Williams, and also Spencer Ware will have to keep it going. We already know no Kareem Hunt, but I think they'll be just fine. Now, for the Colts, they play a zone-based defense, and so it will be interesting to see how the Chiefs try to expose that on the offensive side of the ball. So who's going to win this game? Well, a lot of people are picking the upset, but I feel like the Chiefs are primed and ready to erase all their past history and finally get to the Super Bowl. And so I see Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and the crew getting the job done at home. The second game commences in LA as the Dallas Cowboys take on the Los Angeles Rams. Now, the Rams, also off of a bye, should be fresh with Todd Gurley as they take on Ezekiel Elliott and a dynamic Dallas Cowboys offense. Now, the Cowboys have shocked me all season long. I thought they'd be about an 8-8 team at best, pretty mediocre, but their defense has really been the story this season, and also coming through in the clutch was their offense, surprisingly. On a big third and forever situation, Dak Prescott ran up the middle to get it inside the 1-yard line. They punched it in and then never looked back. A late charge by Seattle wasn't good enough, and the Cowboys advanced to the divisional round to take on the Los Angeles Rams. Now, it's going to be tough because the Cowboys have a great defense, and they shut down teams like the New Orleans Saints, who were the number one offense for quite some time. And, I don't know. The Rams last year, they're probably going to be out for some revenge after going one and done in the postseason last year. A lot of people had them as a trendy Super Bowl pick as the 3 seed in the NFC last year. And now as the 2 seed, they have a little bit more experience under head coach Sean McVay, and they should be ready to rock. Now, the Cowboys, they're going to have to focus on the dynamic weapons of Robert Woods, as well as Brandon Cooks. They can burn you pretty easily, and we saw that Doug Baldwin in the wildcard game against the Seahawks. Doug Baldwin and Tyler Lockett had some big plays down the field, and the Cowboys will really have to watch out for that against a Rams team that can go up and down the field. And if that doesn't work, Todd Gurley as well. And so the matchup Leighton Vander-esque against Todd Gurley will be a big factor in this game if the Cowboys have any hope of winning. Of course, on the offensive side of the ball for Dallas, Amari Cooper is going to have to come up in the clutch. He has been a revelation for them since acquiring him via trade, and he'll need to have another big game for Dak Prescott and the crew. So who will win this game between the Rams and the Cowboys? Well, I always go against Dallas, and so for the first time, and it seems like forever, I'm going to pick the Dallas Cowboys. Yes, the Cowboys with Dak Prescott on the road to go into LA and shut down this dynamic Rams offense to head to the NFC Championship game to play. We'll just have to find out and see. In the next matchup, it's a great one, a battle of two dynamic AFC quarterbacks as Phillip Rivers takes on Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. Now for the Los Angeles Chargers, they had a huge lead against the Ravens and almost saw it dissipate away, but their defense with Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram headlined the show in shutting down Lamar Jackson for over 3 quarters. Now, against Tom Brady, it's going to be a different show. Now, I know they don't have Josh Gordon now. Rob Gronkowski's been banged up and not his usual self, but it's still the Patriots at home, at Gillette, in January. It's pretty tough to beat them. And it doesn't help things that Phillip Rivers has never beaten the New England Patriots when Tom Brady's under center. And so it's going to be a challenge. Now, I do think the Los Angeles Chargers as a whole are the better team this season. But the Patriots have shown time and time again you can never count out Bill Belichick and the crew. And so for the Chargers to win this, well, they're going to have to get out to an early lead. And they do have the offensive weapons. Of course, the receivers, headlined by the trio of Mike Williams, Travis Benjamin, and of course Keenan Allen, will be a big-time threat. And a lot of people didn't think this would happen, but their tight end Hunter Henry has recovered from his torn ACL that he suffered prior to the season, and now he's back in the fold and could be a huge factor. If he's anywhere like he was last season, this could be a huge storyline going forth in the playoffs. Now for the Patriots defense, they're going to have to shut down these weapons, and I mean, they've seemed to play pretty well on the defensive side of the ball in the playoffs. We saw last year at the beginning of the season they struggled. They were the worst defense, and then slowly they got better, and now they were the team that we thought they would be, making it all the way to the Super Bowl. And so this year, they've been a lot more consistent on the defensive side of the ball. Again, never really flashy are the Patriots, but they get the job done when they need to. And so I've been going back and forth on this game, but I'm not going to overthink it. The Chargers might be the better team, but it's pretty tough to pick against the Patriots in January with Tom Brady. So I'm going to take the Patriots to get the job done in a close one. As for the final game of Divisional Round Weekend, it's the Philadelphia Eagles, the 6th seed, as they take on the number 1 seeded New Orleans Saints. Now, it's heavily documented that the Saints just don't lose in the Superdome in the playoffs. When they're the 1 seed, they're pretty much unstoppable. They score so many points as they did all of this year with Alvin Kamara, Drew Brees, Mark Ingram, Michael Thomas. It's going to be nearly impossible to slow down this team. And for the Eagles, they're going to have to pull off the upset of the playoffs. They already did against the Chicago Bears when Cody Parkey missed a tough field goal and the Eagles were able to skim out a 16-15 win at Soldier Field. And now they travel to another tough environment to take on Sean Payton, Drew Brees, and the Saints. Now for the Eagles and Nick Foles, they've had a couple of huge wins to close out the season. They're currently on a 4-game win streak, but this would certainly be the icing on the cake, knocking out the number 1 seeded Saints. And it's going to be a big challenge because the Eagles got blown out in Week 11. They lost by 40 points in the Superdome. Now, Carson Wentz was the quarterback then, but I don't know if one quarterback is going to make a difference when you get blown out by 40 points. That's a total team effort, and they'll really have to shore some things up on the defensive side of the ball if they want to have a chance in this one. Now, who am I going to pick in this one? I'm not going to overthink this. The Eagles had a big upset against the Bears, but the Saints at home, they're just too strong. Nick Foles will probably have a pretty good game as he has in all of his playoff games, but ultimately, the Saints will run away with this for the big-time win. As for Wild Card Weekend, we first had the Colts and the Texans, the AFC South battle, and the Colts raced out to a 21-0 start at halftime en route to a 21-7 win over their division rival, the Texans. Then, the nightcapper for Saturday night was the Cowboys and Seahawks, and it was a pretty hotly contested game with the Cowboys edging out the Seahawks 24-22. And then on Sunday, we had the Chargers and the Ravens, with the Chargers dominating for 3 quarters. Then Lamar Jackson's furious comeback wasn't enough, as the Chargers were able to hold on for a 23-17 victory. And finally, the upset of the playoffs so far, as the Philadelphia Eagles, the 6th seed, knocked off the top favored Chicago Bears 16-15 as Cody Parkey sailed wide left on a double doink, as NBC coined it. And it was a tough loss for the Bears. And that was a pretty exciting wildcard weekend, though, to cap it off.